Hang on, we started, because if we're starting, I'll stop eating my biscuit.
That would be good.
Welcome to Frackulous, a technology podcast for humans. Episode 334. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon, learning to code, and the iPhone SE second generation.
Hang on.
What's your biscuit, Jeff?
Dark chocolate digestive.
Ooh, dark chocolate.
No, milk chocolate. Oh, yeah, dark chocolate.
Oh, Jeff, guess what we had today?
Prep
dark
coffee.
Chocolate tonic tea cakes.
Tonics tea, yeah. You get
Dark
them in,
chocolate, though.
You get them in the pound shop. You get them in Poundland.
I'd never seen dark ones before.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are the pound shops still open? Are they an essential kind of
The
shop?
one-
Well,
Yeah.
they actually are
Yeah.
for people
Yeah, the one in
who
Penges.
cannot afford to buy in large quantities.
It sells like kitchen roll and toilet roll, yeah. And the queue. I see more queues outside Lidl than I do Tesco and Sainsbury. That's what I find weird. I didn't realise Lidl was so popular.
We got a shopping slot. We got an online shopping slot.
Oh, we've got
I'm
loads now.
serious.
Do
Alright,
you
show
know? So Ocado have now.
Hey, David, last week you said you couldn't get deliveries. What?
No, I can't get deliveries of hot food. Though we have found two on our street WhatsApp group. We have found a couple of restaurants locally that are doing that. So we're just trying to wait maybe for a weekend or a nice occasion to go and get ourselves a curry from one of the local places. But in terms of Ocado and Tesco, yes, Kerry managed to get, my wife managed to get a shopping slot with Tesco, 80 items maximum.
Oh,
And while
really?
normally
There's a
she
limit.
would pick individual carrots. No, we're getting packs of everything, multi-packs of everything, so we can make the most of the opportunity.
So you
not
can
to have
buy
to go to the shop.
80 large things.
Yes, it's 80 individual items, so
Okay.
I think you might choose to shop smart to make the most
see.
of that quota.
So we've got Ocado, and Ocado have changed their policy now. So they used to have regular slots you could book. They've cancelled all of those. We didn't have one still. But they've now worked out that for existing customers and anyone that had a regular slot, they are now saying you can have a slot every 10 days. And that's
Every 10 days? That sounds like a perfect schedule.
Yeah. It's a,
What a great denomination.
you could measure something by that, couldn't you? How's your shopping going, Jeff?
Fine. We have a local Sainsbury's, and there's a queue often of about 10 to 15 minutes, and everybody stays 2 meters apart. And this week, there was toilet roll, and there was pasta, and there was soap. So it's the first time I've seen, like squeezy soap. Is it Carex, where it is, that soap? The stuff that on Amazon, they're still charging you £6, £7, £8 per bottle for.
Although
you can now buy my Sainsbury's for £1.50.
If you buy shower gel, you can then put that in your soap dispensers.
But
Don't tell everyone that, though.
Yeah, but still no flour to buy bread.
Yeah, flour's hard. I don't know why everyone is buying flour at the moment.
Everyone's baking. I mean, we've done more baking in the last 4 or 5 weeks here than I think we've done in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's great, don't get me wrong, but everyone's doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
Flour mills can't keep up. There are a couple of stories on the BBC website about it over the last couple of weeks or so. I guess it's just this uneven supply chain that we live in at the moment. And, oftentimes suppliers take weeks and months to build up to their Christmas levels. But we've been doing kind of Christmas shopping with very little notice. And we've got another 3 weeks of it for those listening in the future in the UK where we are. There's another 3 weeks of lockdown. At least 3 weeks.
At least, yeah. Yeah. We're no Germany.
Yeah, what's
So
happening in
3
Germany?
weeks.
They're on it, man. They're on it. They've got it going on. They know what they're doing.
Are they allowed to leave their houses?
It's going to be like shops up to a certain size or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the main thing here, my optimistic view on it, is that restrictions will be lifted, and again it'll be like smaller shops, and distancing will still be a thing. But like the last thing to go, I think, will be like large gatherings. So like sports is going to so we might be allowed to work and in shops, but sports gatherings, large groups of people, I think will be the
So
last.
I'm not going to be able to
last
do my
thing.
sports, is what you're saying.
Well, I do mass participation
big
sports things.
sports.
You're not a sport.
I love the
You're the
sport.
least sporty person I know, Will. Listener, Will does not do sports.
I love the sports, all of them.
You don't do any.
I
you don't
love
follow-
a good sport, Jeff.
David and I do
can't
football.
wait to do
You
some
do
sport.
nothing.
I
do nothing.
I just love watching sport.
Do you even know what the offside
listening
rule
to
is?
sport.
Will, explain the offside rule.
So
I was at.
there's a boring thing that people like to catch people out on, and that's the offside rule.
Right.
I
Yeah,
have
well
the
done.
distinction of being at the last Premier League game before everything got called off, postponed.
Which one was that?
It was Leicester versus Aston Villa.
Oh yeah.
How many
the-
tries did they score?
Oh, it was very, very trying. Very trying. I think it was 4-0 if I remember. 4-1, 4-0. A rip-roaring victory for the Foxes, but alas, that was the last game. Hopefully not the last game of the season, and we can finish things off. And
I mean, genuine question: when is the season?
It's
well,
like August through May.
well, it depends on who you are. So if you're a football player, as I understand it, the season finishes on June the 30th, and that is when contractually professional football players finish their contracts. Now, given where we are, it's likely that many football seasons in Europe will run past that 30th of June mark, which makes contract negotiations and transfers and stuff a little bit more interesting than it would otherwise be. But hey, you know what? These are uncharted times, so I'm sure the powers that be can work their way around that.
And are they still playing them? I heard something like they were playing behind closed doors.
No, that's one of the things that I've heard that they might do.
Right.
To squeeze everything in, they might do like something ridiculous, like a game every 2 days. So you might get like four games in 8 days, but without, as you say, behind.
But could
closed
they
doors.
stream
So
those?
potentially, it would still be, but it'd be weird, wouldn't it, on Sky Sports watching
I
football
don't know.
without.
I mean, it'd be weird watching football on telly for me.
There is one country in the world where football is still taking place, and that's Belarus. And they've taken a bit of a different approach to tackling coronavirus. And they were the only professional football league in the world where football matches were still being played. And now, Belarus doesn't have many big name teams and stars, but people were tuning in. I think one of the big betting companies in the UK, maybe Bet365, I can't be sure on that off the top of my head, would let you watch Belarus Premier League, whatever it is, football matches, as long as you placed a bet, which is kind of great. But it's I've got some moral qualms about that as well, because some players were saying we don't want to be playing in this. We're we're like lab rats at the moment. We've got all the world watching on in some kind of morbid. Taking some morbid pleasure from the fact that we're still playing while everyone else is shut up shop and keeping themselves and their families safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
Speaking
sports.
of live streaming action from random places, how have we all been doing with the new brave world of video conferencing?
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by Audible.com, the premier provider of audiobooks. With over 180,000 titles to choose from, humans like to listen to things. If you're a human, you're probably listening to this podcast right now. Audiobooks on Audible are read by real live humans, often the same ones that wrote all of the words as well. Not only are you hearing the words written by the human, but you get to experience them exactly as they intended. Humans love listening to other humans. It is one of their favorite things to do, unlike Risk, which is good, because Audible is completely risk-free. If you don't like the sounds or words you're hearing, for any reason, you can exchange it for another without asking any questions. To start your free 30-day trial of Audible, which includes a free audiobook download, go to frackulous.com/audible, so that they know that we sent you and to show your support for the show.
I've actually been really enjoying it. I've spent a lot of time in Zoom, and despite the initial reports about Zoom being the worst company ever, I'm coming round and thinking they were just misunderstood. And actually, their product is incredibly good for certain sectors that need to use it. And also, it makes a great program for consumer use. It's by far the easiest one to get people on.
I think it's a very dull icon.
Yeah. No, it's not
very
a great.
bland
It looks
icon.
like YouTube, like from about 7 years ago.
Yeah. Actually, I'm only using it on my iPad, not on my desktop. So I don't think I keep seeing all these features. People keep going, "Hey, did you know you can?" Pro tip: you can hold down the spacebar to unmute yourself for a second.
That's a great
and stuff.
tip.
And I'm like, "Did you know? I don't know that." But I'm like, I'm on the iPad version, so none of these tips apply. And on the iPad version, I can't get this kind of classic 4x4 16-person view that everybody talks about. And then, hang on, and then the
You can
greatest thing I
swipe
saw.
left and right to get the different views on the iPad.
Oh, what? Hang on, I'm trying it now. And then one of the funniest things I saw was yesterday. A woman in her 40s. She's like, my daughter had to do like a Zoom conference with her teacher, at school to learn something. But she'd worked out that she could take a picture of herself, sort of looking attentive and engaged,
And set it as
then
her background.
and set it as her background, and then was just off doing other things. And her mum was like, she's 10, and everyone on Twitter is going, "This is amazing. Can we employ her, or she'll be prime minister or something?" It was very funny.
Just to declare an interest,
So the
we
most
are using Zoom right now for our because
yes.
while we're recording this, we like to look at we have to look at each other.
No, David, I can only really see your forehead and your mop. Oh, there you go. Now,
So
thank you.
The most exciting Zoom feature I found out about this week is one called breakout rooms. So we've had a policy since about day 1.5 of lockdown that if we're doing a Zoom with other parents who have children of a similar age, instead of having one conversation that everyone's in, the kids have a Zoom, we have a Zoom. And that way, well, actually, we only have one Zoom going, they're in something else. But through breakout rooms, I've worked out that I can just pour everyone into the same Zoom, and then I can split the kids off into their own room. And that works way better than, because the kids just mess around and they're annoying.
Are you using your built-in webcams on your Macs there, people?
I am.
What are you using?
Look what mine does, Jeff.
What does it zooms? You can zoom on Zoom.
No,
David,
Jeff.
what webcam are you using? Your S? No, seriously, what cameras are you using?
I'm using my 5D Mark II.
Well, how are you doing? How are you ingesting that into your? Have you got a little box, a little gizmo that turns it into a USB?
Like all good things, I will write a Medium post about this. But what I'm doing is
because is it a hardware or software solution? Is what I'm asking.
It's a mix.
Oh God! Just give me a simple answer, Head.
As for reasons that will become apparent later, I'm spending about 8 hours a day on Zoom.
I want to know how to plug my camera with an HDMI port into my PC with a USB port.
So
yes.
I did this from all stuff I just happened to have around. Your mileage may vary. What I had to do was, first of all, get the HDMI into my Mac. And for that, I already had a Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorder, which is a Thunderbolt device.
And they're about 60 quid?
Yeah, maybe. Somewhere between 60 and 100. It wasn't
so
much.
I just ordered one, and they are like, excuse my French, rocking horse shit at the moment.
Yeah.
I found one supplier that would send one to me, and it's arriving on Monday. But you're looking closer to about £130 for it at the moment.
I can't remember what I paid for it.
Are you
it
saying
wasn't expensive.
Are you saying that they're in high demand, David, by Rocking Horse?
They're in very high demand, as are the alternatives as well.
That's actually where I was leading, because I've got a Logitech C270 webcam, and I wanted the Logitech C920, which is about 3 times the price. It retails at around 80 quid, but it's much better quality, much better low light.
Yeah.
But everywhere, and I've been to many websites that are out of stock, and basically they're selling on Amazon and have them, and the only place you can get them is on eBay, and I've seriously seen them go for like 150, 160 pounds, which is almost like twice the price.
I got one
last
Amazon, when at Amazon Prime Day, I got one for 30 quid.
What, the Logitech 920 or the 922?
920, I think it was.
Yeah, they're like gold dust right now.
Anyway, back to my 5D.
Sorry. Yeah, how do you turn HDMI into USB?
So the Ultra Studio mini recorder is turning the HDMI via Thunderbolt into my Mac. It appears just as a camera source. The problem with the 5D is it doesn't do clean HDMI output. And it also turns off. So I had to use...
That's not helpful. What
I
features would you like on a camera? I'd like it to turn itself off, please.
Yeah.
That's a handy
that's not
feature.
great. I mean, it's fine for recording with, but it's not designed for staying on constantly. But it's probably the best sensor and lens system I have. So I thought, I'm going to try and make that work. My fallback would have been my C100. Although, as David and I found out, the HDMI on my C100 doesn't work. So,
but that's your C100. It's a Mark 1. It's really old.
Yeah, it is really old. It's a wonder it still works at all. Okay. So what I had to do was there's a software hack called Magic Lantern, which allows you to do lots of clever things with your Canon cameras. Things like start recording again over the 4 gig limit, put focus peaking on, set your white balance, all of that pro stuff you need in a camera. What it didn't used to do was enable clean HDMI, but the recent release does enable that. So you have to basically set that going, and then there's this hack where if you half press the shutter button and turn on this hack, it will basically keep the camera on indefinitely. So basically what I have to do is turn on my camera, half press the shutter, don't touch it for the day, and then it feeds the feed straight into the Ultra Studio and out onto Zoom.
I have an alternative.
And then it's being attached to the back of my monitor via a magic arm, so that I can have some flexibility of positioning.
I'm just going to buy a Logitech C920.
But it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So I've been down this rabbit hole as well, and while I thought I did have some hardware, I had an AverMedia Live Gamer Pro capture device. It doesn't play very nicely with Macs, unfortunately.
Right.
So, and this works certainly if you are a Canon DSLR user. When you plug in, you don't use your HDMI port. You use the USB 2 port instead.
What?
So you plug in your DSLR into your Mac or your PC.
I actually don't think I've ever used the USB port on any of my Canon cameras.
So
because I use card readers.
If you are a fan of tethered shooting, whereby any images you take may, particularly stills photographers, any images they take are instantly available to view on the screen.
It's a video thing.
Yes, perhaps, but what it does let you, and that's also how you can change color profiles. The EOS utility, if you install it, as soon as you plug your camera in, then it pops up on the screen. And what
maybe
that
I've used it for that, because I do have custom profiles on my 5D.
So what you do is you plug in your Canon DSLR into your Mac or your PC. EOS utility opens up, and you can open up a live view, so you can see exactly what your camera's seeing. Wow. You can adjust various features like the saturation and the sharpness and so on live. You can adjust the focus as well. You can choose face tracking focus and all the rest of that. So that's good, but it's on your screen. That doesn't automatically feed it into a webcam, for example, into a video conferencing
so
solution.
It's just literally showing on your desktop.
Sure, exactly. But the next bit is the bit of magic. There's a really nifty bit of software. It's free. It's called CamTwist. And what this does...
It sounds dodgy.
It
sounds like some sort of sex party.
Again, what you use your camera for and your PC for is entirely up to you. And there are a couple of other ones that do the same sort of thing. But CamTwist is pretty good. It's been around for a very long time as well. I think over 10 years in various forms. It lets you select an area of the screen in the same way that OBS, people who do live streaming will know.
So what's OBS?
OBS is an open source broadcasting bit of software that lets you live stream.
So the sort of thing that Maddie and Greg are using.
Well, it's the sort of thing that I use to do my YouTube.
Oh yes,
live
and
streams.
you also stream it, Jeff. What do
We're
you
doing
use
two.
OBS for?
I'm currently using OBS twice a week to do my very popular live streams.
Have you thought about using your DSLR as your camera for that?
That's exactly why I said to you about 5 minutes ago, how do you turn
Right.
HDMI into
Here we go.
USB?
Yeah.
Because I'm using my crappy C270, which is why I have a bid in on eBay right
got
now
you.
for the 922. But I've looked at the software solutions and hardware solutions, and I just thought I'll just buy a better webcam. Yeah, I think is my answer. But
Well,
if there was an
if-
easy,
Well,
there was
but
an-
are
there-
you on? Sorry, David. We'll come back to your setup.
if
are
there's
you
an
on-
easy way
Are you on PC?
to do it, yes.
Okay, I've got a game capture that probably works with your PC. You can borrow.
Can I borrow it?
Yeah, we'll have to
Thanks.
find a way to contactlessly get it to you. But yeah,
Well, that
let's get
well,
that.
counts.
Let's get you set up with that.
Well, no, that counts as work equipment. So
Yes. That's an essential business.
that's
I'm
a business
saving.
requirement.
I'm saving the viewers of all the stations bad picture quality. Yeah, I'll get you that,
Thanks.
and then you can plug your C100 into that.
Well,
David.
how big it is? Can you? Sorry, Dave. Can you just post it to me?
No, it's quite big. Well, the
Oh,
box.
how-
I want to send you the whole thing with all the cables and stuff.
Okay,
I'd rather
okay.
not piecemeal it off.
That if I could use my SLR, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
For sure. All right,
David, back to you.
Seriously, though, I mean, you make a good point there. Gamers, live streamers, they've been doing exactly this for years. And a lot of the research that I did took me to, gamer forums, live streaming forums, very, very much geared up for capturing from HDMI or from various sources and,
I mean, the
and being
reason
able
I
to
have
use it to
all this
broadcast.
stuff is for capturing presentations because when events were a thing, and people used to have presentations with PowerPoint slides, we used to capture those feeds live instead of syncing the slide deck later. So that's why I have all this kit.
So, long story short, plug my DSLR into my Mac, open up EOS Utility, use a little bit of software called Cam Twist that lets me select that area of the screen, set your lens, take it off of autofocus once it's on focus, otherwise you get a little box around your face, and then that magically appears as a camera feed alongside your iSight camera or your Logitech camera when you open up Skype or Microsoft Teams or WebEx or Zoom. And it's good. The only things you have, it's the least faffy one. I don't need any extra hardware. I just need a USB cable, and it's good. The downsides are I've got a bit of my screen, which is being live
going
captured.
live. So
is
any
going live, but I
browser
fixed
window that you may happen to fall into that area could be broadcast live to your Zoom participant.
which can be a little bit dangerous. So my workaround for that is when I'm doing this on my iMac here, that's got a Thunderbolt, a display port out. I've got a little, it's only like 10 inches or so.
Oh, yeah,
no, 7 inches. I've got those little
those
external
iPad
displays.
Yeah,
exactly. So I've got a separate screen
we should
just
probably
for camera
explain
capture.
that they are the display panels from iPads that someone has repurposed as portable displays.
Exactly. So you can strap them with a bit of elastic onto. It's if you're used to working in multi-display land and you want to do that with your laptop. These little things, just the size of a notebook, and it lets you have multi-screens with a laptop. I've repurposed one of those, plugged it into my iMac, and that means that I can have a pretty clean kind of camera feed, because you can so tell if someone has gone to the trouble of plugging in one of their DSLRs or whatever on a web conference. The quality stands out so much, and typically those people who've gone to that trouble will also have thought about lighting and thought about the height of the camera, and they'll make the background look good. But it can make such a difference. So I think we don't need to stand for rubbish quality video anymore in web conferences. We can do so much better.
I'm also feeding my good mic, the one I'm talking to you now, into my Mac and then into Zoom. So I've been using that for Zooming as well.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference. A good quality mic. Well, not even a good quality one, just a dedicated one that's near your mouth. I think that's the key.
And that isn't an ugly headset. That makes you look as if you're working in a call center.
A headset is actually probably better for sound quality, even though it does make it look like you're landing a plane.
Could we use the proper name? Sorry, chaps. It's a Britney stick. Thank you.
A
We've been
Britney
through this
stick.
before. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Not a Madonna mic anymore, a Britney stick.
Oh, Madonna mic.
Actually, the
but
Madonna mic is a little, the slightly invisible one, like the one that just comes from behind the ear
right.
and just appears on the cheek. I think that's the
Will,
Madonna mic.
I don't know if that was intentional or whether you were playing along to the fact that I can see you on Zoom. But were you aware that you adjusted your headphones when you said Madonna mic?
No, I was putting my finger to be the Madonna mic.
No. Before that, you actually sort of
I know my
adjusted
ear
your
was
headphones.
hurting.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like being Madonna there for a second. You know.
As I've already said, I've been spending 8 hours a day on Zoom, so my ears
Really?
are getting
Why is that, Will? You're doing a new thing.
I am. I'm
What?
currently learning to code.
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by ExpressVPN, the easiest way to protect your online privacy. So easy, even a human could do it. ExpressVPN secures and anonymously anonymizes your internet browsing by encrypting your data and hiding your public IP address. Turning on ExpressVPN protection only takes one single click, and there are easy-to-use apps that run seamlessly in the background whether you insist on using a tablet, phone or computer. ExpressVPN is rated the #1 VPN service by fellow humans at techradar.com. ExpressVPN has a special offer just for humans that listen to Frackulous with their ears. You can get 3 months free without paying any money if you sign up for a 1-year package for a year. To sign up for a 1-year package and get 3 months free for free and to show your support for the show, sign up at frackulous.com/expressvpn.
Is this you announcing it? Are you coming out?
I am officially going to be, as well as a video producer, a video producing coder.
One of those incredibly talented coding people.
Well, coding is creative. It's not just technical. I've always maintained this. It's a creative endeavor. It's not just a purely technical thing.
What's your language of choice, Will?
Well, at the moment, I'm enrolled in Makers Academy, which is a coding bootcamp, and they are currently teaching us Ruby, but their entire ethos is that anything they could teach you could be out of date within 12 months. When you go into the world and you start professionally coding stuff, new languages and frameworks will always come along. So their ethos is to teach you how to teach yourself any framework on coding language you need to know and keep your skills up to date. So it sounds, from the face of it, I'm paying them so I can teach myself.
Do you remember when Swift came out on Apple, when Apple first announced Swift, and there was all these amusing adverts saying Swift developer needed 5 years experience.
So we are currently doing Ruby, but I've seen that you do projects as you progress through the course, and some people do those in Swift, some people do them in their language of choice. It's all up to you. Some people use JavaScript.
So this means I can come to you with sort of web-based coding questions now if I have trouble. Oh, damn it. Rats.
So what's the big plan then? Well, I mean, apart from having a bit of Ruby under your belt and the ability to pick up any other lingos, what's the objective?
The objective is that getting on for over 10 years ago, when I set up a video production company, that was a great time to have a video production company. It's been on 10 years. There's just too many people with cameras now, and there's not enough differentiation. So it's quite hard to get jobs. And it's only when someone else has messed up that job that people come back to you and realize you're reliable, good, quality, all of that stuff. So I'm looking to diversify and be able to offer more than just basically pure video production. I'm hoping that we can offer much more advanced solutions, potentially around coding and platforms and that kind of thing.
Does this mean that I can still hire you for editing, Will?
I will still be available to edit some of your videos, Jeff. I do genuinely like editing your videos. They're some of the most fun. And you give me a lot of free reign. And you don't change too much of my jokes that I put in there.
Oh, really? Oh, so some clients are worse. Is that what you're saying?
I have less freedom with the more
There we go.
corporate.
I like how you you avoided the.
And some of the clients they give me a lot of freedom as well. You know, it's a trade-off as all of these things. So the plan is do this course, get some skills, build some stuff, have a better market offering. And that's kind of it at the moment. I don't really know where it goes.
For?
The course is, well, we've already done 4 weeks of what they call the pre-course, which is part-time and originally always was taught from home. So they set you up the Slack, you set yourself up for Zoom and everything else, but
You're
primarily
on another Slack. Oh,
I know. I've got more Slacks.
How many Slacks are you on now, Will? Yeah, at this rate, you'll be on more Slacks than you have apps, and that's saying something.
I'm on about 8 now.
8?
Yeah. And so there was 4 weeks pre-course where it's like an online course. You work your way through that. It teaches you command line, which I knew pretty well anyway, although have been using my newfound skills to do things like I've set up a Minecraft server for the kids. I can now, with one command, pull out a list of who's connected to that server from the logs as a nice, neat list. And I've saved that as a command that I can run anytime. So I've been using that. You then do Git, which I've never used before and makes my head hurt. And that's like a version control system. It's a bit like Dropbox, but more structured. And then we've done Ruby. So we've done what's called Mastery of Ruby, which basically tests whether you understand the basic concepts of all the constructs of the language. And then we moved on site this week, although the campus is obviously closed. And I did originally pick this course because I wanted an on-site teaching, but they've moved the entire thing onto Zoom. So we have a check-in with our peer group at 9:30 in the morning. We then do either self-led learning till lunchtime, or we do a workshop with our tutor through Zoom. And then in the afternoon, and the other reason I chose this course is it specializes in what's called pair programming, which is the idea is that instead of being the lone coder on your own, any code you write with somebody else, because it's meant to produce much better maintainable code. So we pair for 3 hours-ish in the afternoon every day with a different person on your course.
That's where you use Zoom, obviously.
And that's where we use Zoom. So, one of the great features
would you be doing that? Would you be doing that in a classroom in person were it not for the lockdown?
We would be traditionally on campus in a room together, sat around the same Mac. And you do this thing where one of you drives, the other tells you what to do. So all code has to be spoken from one person to the person who's doing the keyboard.
Are you enjoying it? Is it what you thought it would be?
I'm really enjoying it, but I'm struggling on 2 levels. One, when we originally decided to do this, someone else was going to look after the kids for 8 hours a day. And that's not happening. So we've had to massively reshift our days around. So at the moment, I'm having, and also this week we've had an Easter, we've actually let on to the kids that it's holiday. It's no longer homeschool. Although we had
do they not know? Do they not keep track?
Not last week. They didn't. We were just homeschooled through last week.
Is that because time and days has just become a blurry mess?
It was a decision that we'd only been doing 2 weeks of homeschooling by that point, and the schedule was working, and we knew that I was starting the course this week. So if we could keep them occupied and work through that, we could do a lot of prep. And
But back me up here. Isn't there a Smiths Morrissey song called "Every Day Is Like Sunday"? Oh no, it might be "Every Day Is Like Monday." Whenever I step outside to go to my corner shop or go for my daily walk, it's so quiet. It just every day feels like a Sunday now because it's got that Sunday quietness. So every day is like a Sunday. Is that how it feels to you now?
No, I mean the weird thing for me is we live up by the 406, the big northern road, the 3-lane road that runs around London. And we go for a walk.
That must be quieter.
No, it's not. So we go for a walk every morning through the forest, and we occasionally cross over the 406, and it's no different. Like, the thing that's going to make the difference for me is when there are no cars on the 406, or just like one or two. But at the moment, it's no different.
That's weird.
I know.
Stop me if I mentioned this on the podcast last time. I went for a bike ride a few days back. I either go for a walk for about 45 minutes or a run or a bike ride. And I got to a point where I got to what would be a busy road junction, and there were just with traffic lights, and filter lanes, and there was just nothing. There was just nothing there. And I sort of like just rode round across the wrong way on the road in a big circle, kind of going, this is crazy, there's no cars here. And then just kind of like sort of freewheeled my way, wobbling across all the different lanes just because I could, because there was nothing there. And it was the bizarrest thing. And it was like being in a scene out of 28 Days Later when there was no bug there. It was bizarre.
I'm expecting to see that, but so far not materialising.
And then about 90 seconds later, a bus did come along and spoil it. But, for a minute, it was like, what? Nothing.
I had a similar experience at the weekend. I had to drive for an essential journey down to London, which is a good, 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours or so. And for large parts of it, I was the only car on my carriageway. It was,
weird,
I could drive in the middle lane all by myself, kind of all naughty-like, because I wasn't overtaking anybody, and it was fine. I mean, it was just quite eerie. I think that's the experience that, if places are a bit quieter or entirely dead in many ways,
I do remember
it's just eerie.
Driving back from yours, David, after I dropped those phones off. Even though the roads were noticeably less busy then, there was still some head sat in like the third lane on a 4-lane road, sat in the third lane. So I'd have to go from the first lane all the way out, overtake him, and go all the way back.
You didn't have to do that.
Oh, I did, to make my point.
Well, I'm very excited
Jeff.
for your course, Will. I'm really, really excited about that. And just say again, how much longer are you engaged in that for? What's the
so we've done week
checkout
one
time?
Yeah, we've just completed week one today. We did our first end of week wrap up, also as part of my course, which I am fully engaging in on all levels. We do meditation every day at midday and yoga twice a week.
Wow.
So this is a California-based company that's doing this.
It's a UK company, but they do.
Okay.
They do have a chief joy officer though, and she is in charge of meditation and yoga.
And she's American, right? That's a yes, isn't it? That's a yes, isn't it? There's no way a British company led up by British people would dream of doing such a thing.
But I have genuinely been enjoying it. Although first day I was very tired and did fall asleep in meditation. But again, quite enjoyed that. So
Will's course isn't the only thing that's new. There was in the dearth of news in many ways outside of coronavirus, there was one thing that shone from a tech point of view brighter than everything else this week, Jeff. And I know it caught your eye.
What could it be?
But Will missed it. How did you miss it?
Because I was coding all day.
No, you missed the gag because you were meditating all day. Come on, we'll do it again. Will, how did you miss it?
You don't meditate all day, Jeff. I think you've misunderstood how meditation works.
Please play along with my stupid gag. Listener, welcome to the Apple portion of the podcast, which we are contractually obliged to do.
Woohoo!
This episode of Frackulous is brought to you by FreshBooks, the easy-to-use online invoicing software designed to get you paid cash money faster. Face it, humans, you are not good with numbers. If you're not a numbers human, sign up for FreshBooks and let them handle the hard stuff for you. FreshBooks users save 2 days per month on average, which you could spend doing futile tasks like talking to other humans and eating food in front of each other. In order to pay for these pointless activities, you are going to need money. FreshBooks lets you create invoices that look more professional than your substandard motor skills allow. You can even keep track of expenses, so you don't end up with negative money. which is bad if your entire world is built on having it to survive. To try FreshBooks for free for 30 days, go to frackulous.com/freshbooks and enter Frackulous into the How Did You Hear About Us section, so that they know that we sent you and to show your support for the show.
In every Frackulous, there'll be at least 10% of Apple chat.
At least
this
10%.
is it. At least 10%. Well, I knew it was coming. The iPhone 9, as it's not called.
It's not called that.
No.
What's it called?
It's the new SE. It's the second edition.
It's just the SE.
Yes, well, no, but even on the Apple website, it actually says if you do like an iPhone comparison.
Okay. So it's like iPads where they have
call it second
generation. Right.
I've seen some people call it the SE 2020, but it is just the SE,
That's
the new
bad.
SE.
That's like calling something an iTouch.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Actually, no. I mean, Apple in recent weeks has also announced the iPad Pro 2020. And
Is
that's
it
being used to
officially called the
differentiate it.
iPad Pro 2020?
I'm going to
I'd
check,
be
but
very-
certainly that's how it's being referenced in a lot of searches, a lot of
But
online
not by
conversations.
Apple.
Probably not, but there's Let me have a quick
It
check.
doesn't
see what
sound
Apple's calling
very
it.
Apple.
But I'm excited because basically it's an iPhone 8 with better gubbins.
Well, it's
inside.
Well, in some levels, it's an iPhone 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what? It's
No,
got
no,
the
the
A13
internals.
chip. It's
So
got the A13 chip.
It has.
It does portrait mode on the single
Now,
camera.
that's the weird thing. So when they did the first SE, they pretty much took a 6S and they shoved it inside the 5S case.
inside the 4-inch.
Yeah.
Form
So
factor, yeah.
spec-wise, it was pretty much a 6S.
So have they taken the 11 and put it inside an 8?
They
but
have,
obviously
and they
but
haven't.
only with the single camera. Obviously.
Because they've taken the camera from the 10R. Because that did portrait mode with a single camera.
So that means it can't do.
It has to
emojis
have
as
a
well,
face, I think.
It doesn't have a FaceTime.
Depends
And
on the
that's-
front-facing camera, whether that
Right.
has got depth sensing.
But that for me is the greatest all-time thing. In fact, it's got a button still. Yes. And
We'll notice something quite interesting on this point. When you watch the video, when we forwarded it to you, Will, something that this was the official Apple launch video. Apart from a real glimpse,
They
the
don't
video
really show the
doesn't
front
really
of it
show.
at all.
And I think that's because
I wanted to
Apple's
know
trying to
what
sell
that
this
front
shiny
looked
new
like.
product. Well, we all know what it looks like, and we've known what it's looked like for about 10 years, or maybe a little bit less, 5 or 6 years. This is an old phone. This is a phone that isn't faster, isn't flashier. It's a cheap phone.
No, it is faster.
No, it is faster. It is faster.
Way
What are you talking about?
faster.
Okay.
And it's got
not
more memory.
bigger.
It's got 3 gig of RAM rather than 2 gig of RAM.
Okay. What it isn't, though, is a looker. This isn't a phone that people are going to look at and go, wow. So why would they show the front of the screen with the button when that in and
like
of itself is a
They
several-year-old
tried
design?
not to show it, though. That's
Because
the
for
weird
me,
thing.
because for me,
And that's
because for
my
me,
point.
If you show,
It was
if you show me a
noticeable
phone,
by its emission.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm having one and I'm buying one.
People are,
but you know
people
why?
are buying
But you
the
know-
price rather than buying, the sexiness of the product or not sexiness of the product.
Oh, no, Jeff's buying the sexiness.
No. The reason why I really want one is because the battery on my 8 is going, and of
Oh,
course
really?
you can't
Already?
walk into it, and you can't
Wow.
walk into a Genius bar right now and get
No,
your battery replaced.
that's
So
true.
I'm just gonna
Although
get a new phone.
I've replaced some phone batteries recently in my old 5Ss, and I'm pretty nifty at it now. It's terrifying when you first do it, when you try and open them up.
Yeah.
But I've not broken them. They still work. They're all back together in one piece. It's a good project, Jeff. You should order yourself an eBay battery.
Well, interesting. You can trade in your 8, and you can get
Okay.
like up to 100. So if you do the trade in, then you get quite a few quid off.
So how much
a brand
would
new
you
phone.
get off? Do you know?
Like £120 or something.
Off a £400 phone.
Yeah.
Which spec are you going for?
I only need 64. I don't need any bigger than
Okay.
64. I don't carry all my music because I have iTunes
Yeah.
in the cloud, so I don't need it
Okay.
locally.
So you're going to go for
And
the
I don't-
400 quid one.
And I don't have 10 billion apps on my phone either.
The other
so
thing I
that's-
noticed is I think it's the same colour as the 10R, the red, which is the good red. Because you remember last time
Okay.
I said
I'm not a fan of the red.
You're not going to buy the red. It's a good red.
What's weird is that you can get it in white and black, but only the back of the white is white. The front of the white is still black.
What?
Does that make sense?
The front of
Yeah.
the white is black.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Because
but I'm
the
gonna have a
original
cake.
thing about the white 4S, the white 4, it was the 4, not the 4S, I think. It was delayed because they couldn't get the colour of the home button to match the glass.
Ah,
It was either the 4 or the 4S. I can't remember which one exactly, but they announced it. I think it was the 4S. They announced it at the same time.
okay.
And it didn't come out for like 9 months or something silly. Like it literally came out just before the next gen phone was released because it took them that long to get. I believe it was because they couldn't get the glass to match the home button because there were different materials.
By the time actually no, probably not this next time, but in 2 podcast time,
Yeah.
you can ask me in person what it's like.
Have you ordered it already?
No, you can't order them until tomorrow. Oh no, today.
It's today, Jeff. Go now.
I will say
but
it's
they're
been
not-
very well reviewed. Lots of reviews, people who, I don't know whether they've had any hands-on time or not, but places like The Verge and so on are saying this is a ridiculously good value
I mean,
phone.
obviously, I've had nothing.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything about it all today because I just come straight out of coding into this.
meditation.
I did some meditation on the way, and then here I am.
But David, you came up with a rather amusing point, knowing I'm a fan of the button and not the face ID. How does that pertain to the current crisis?
Right. So, I mean, one thing that I have been doing, and I know this goes against government advice, but I have some pre-existing face masks that I had from when I was travelling to
N95s.
India last year, and the smog in New Delhi was just horrible last autumn. So I've been wearing one of those when I've been going around the supermarket and so on.
I also
because many
have-
other people are. I can't unlock my phone when I'm wearing a bloody face mask, and it's a real pain. I know that Touch ID is going to fix
the button.
Although you should be wearing gloves as well, David. So
Oh God, no!
See,
I've
you
also
need
got-
the button. You need the button in your life. You need it. You
I've-
need foiled.
I would like
foiled by a
both.
virus. Foiled. A phone that has both. What?
no, that'd be crazy. The other thing I have is an asbestos mask which is a proper ventilator with the huge
Isn't
things
that
on
dangerous?
the side. Well, sorry, an anti-asbestos mask.
There we go.
So
But
I've yet
this
to
did
actually
lead me
put
to-
that on yet.
But this does lead me to ask the question to you boys that have face IDs. Is that surely, David, if you register your face with the mask on, then that will work. And then it made me wonder, I don't know, what bits of your face does it actually make
I've
a
heard
note
it
of
doesn't, but
it doesn't work with the mask.
Well, I've heard
But does
it
it look at, but it obviously looks at your eyes, nose, and mouth. But does
And
it look at your
depth.
cheekbones? Does it look at your ears, your forehead, your fringe?
from what I understand, and again, I've had little time to look into this, but from what I understand is that it looks not just at your face, but also the depth of your face. So you can't just hold up a picture of Jeff Marshall. It has to be have some level of depth. So somebody tried drawing their face or printing their face on a face mask, and that didn't work. And then I believe what they did was they then molded some depth to the aspects of their face on the face mask, and they got that to work. So it is
So would it work? Would it work with a face mask? Yes, but then you'd have to wear the face mask all the time.
well. You can have a second appearance, so you could have it trained to your face, and then trained to your face mask's face if you can get your face mask to work. So it is possible.
Is that helpful for people that wear glasses or sunglasses on an intermittent basis? Is that why that's there?
Yeah. Or people who shave and then don't shave. I don't know. I think it learns if you grow a beard over time. It learns that you're gradually changing, but then maybe when you shave it off, it gets a bit freaked out.
I have some
See,
real time.
Just stick to the fingerprint. That's all you need.
But the Face
I have
ID is great for stuff like 1Password and banking.
Yeah, but it's slower. It's slower.
not.
It
Not
is
on
slower.
not on the 11. It's not.
No.
I've read that it's slower. I've seen people go.
Yeah,
I've
when
lament the
on
fact
my
that
10
face-
it's slower,
face is
but
slower.
once you get onto the 11, it's fast enough.
But it's also about the grip. If you are going to Touch ID, then you've got to hold the phone in a particular way, which might not be so easy if you've got a larger phone. You've got to get your thumb near the bottom. With Face ID, you just pick up your phone and it unlocks. So any technical speed, which certainly with the iPhone 11, I haven't noticed anything. But I think that it's going to be a lot faster not having to adjust my grip. I'm also probably safer not having to adjust my grip. I'm not risking changing how I hold it and dropping the phone.
David, during these masked times, if you are in need of Touch ID, I've got an iPhone 8 for sale, quite by chance.
I thought you were going to sell that back to Apple.
Oh yeah. Yeah, David, just £200 to
I have
solve
some
all your face
real
mask
time. I have some real time feedback on product naming.
Okay. Hit us.
So, it's funny because O2, 3, Tech Radar.
I'm only taking
Tom's
Apple as a
Guide,
source here. I'm only taking
Wired.
Apple as a source.
Then you're wrong. Everyone apart from Apple is calling it, certainly for SEO search engine purposes, the iPhone SE 2020.
Actually, David, I think
you
what
have
you find
a
is
look.
they are wrong.
Well, look.
Because that's not what it's called.
Yes, but it's what everyone is calling it. And it's the
Not what it's
same
called.
also with the iPad as well. You look at the
Let's have
searches
a
for
vote.
iPad Pro 2020. That's
not
what
what
John
it's
Lewis,
called.
that's what the retailers are also
not what it's
calling it and
called.
what the tech titles are calling it.
It's not what it's called.
It's
David,
not what it's called. It's what people are calling it. And I
People
would
who
say
are
there is an
idiots are calling it
important
that.
David,
distinction
if you
there.
put your hand up, I'll put my hand up. Who wants to call it the SE 2020? Show of hands, everyone.
Never going to
Note
happen.
to the listeners on the Zoom conference right now, David and Jeff are raising their hands.
It's called the iPhone SE. I will
20.
give it second generation if necessary, but it's not the iPhone SE 2020.
Maybe we can ask for some feedback from our listeners on that very point. Speaking of feedback from listeners, many people
gonna
were
give a
very
shout out?
surprised that we came out.
I don't know
with
why they were
with a
so
surprise
surprised.
episode.
I mean, it's only
Is
been
it
14
Mike?
months
Was
since
it-
the last one.
Is it Mike? Is it Mike Whitcomb? Hello, Mike, who I know is listening. He's an ardent fan of the podcast.
Actually, let me just... I'll pull up this channel.
He was surprised and overjoyed to discover there
Surprised
was a
and
new podcast.
overjoyed. That's what we aim to bring: delight and surprise.
One of the bits of feedback was obviously we were speaking quite a lot before we broke up last time on phone cases. And
Yeah, I'd forgotten about
my
the phone
Mophie
case
was
saga.
name checked. I actually dug out my Mophie just so I could have it in my hand and wave it on the webcam. Or on
I've
my
actually
phone
got one of
for
those now
Zooming
that I've
right now.
got an old 6 in because the battery on that is a bit creaky. And it's great when I lend it to it's my lending iPhone that I give to people who don't have Apple devices because it charges off micro USB.
Yes.
So I don't have to give them a lightning cable.
So compare your Mophie experience with the iPad Hump battery case. What do you see
it's
as the
horrible.
main difference between them?
I'd say the Mophie is horrible and the smart case is nice.
Right. Horrible in terms of aesthetics and feel in the hand, but what about performance and practicality?
It's kind of just lumpy and bumpy and horrid to hold and feels really chunky. Whereas the smart battery case, which I'm holding here, doesn't feel like it adds that much to the size of the phone. I think because it's round the edges, it's slim. The lump's only in the middle. It's a much more
So you
aesthetic thing to hold.
You don't have anything good to say about the Mophie then?
I mean, it's got a battery. Oh, it's wireless charging as well, so that is quite good.
Yep.
So I'll give it that. And the smart battery case is not wireless charging.
In fact, if you put a smart... Yes, you will stop your previously wireless charging phone from being a wirelessly chargeable phone should you put that case on.
Yes, that is also true.
Not a good thing.
And I couldn't go back now from wireless. I'm fully wireless. I very rarely plug in to charge now, despite me poo-pooing wireless charging all those episodes ago when you were shouting its benefits, David.
Rumours are that the Apple AirPower that got canned might not be quite so canned after all. I don't
did
know if
hear
you
that.
saw that. Yeah.
It came through my bubble via the medium of podcasts, which is the only thing I still have time to do.
So I think that'd be really interesting, given that more and more devices are becoming wirelessly chargeable. Going back to the iPhone SE 2020 for a moment, that has lost
iPhone
a
SE.
port, hasn't it, Jeff? That no longer has the 3.5mm
I
headphone
don't think
jack.
the
in
8
it.
didn't, though. The 8
No,
didn't have
no,
the...
but no,
No, but the
the 8
iPhone
didn't
SE 1 or
Oh, I see,
2017.
yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
just
No,
a
there was-
5S.
There was some rumor and hope that they might, in the way that they acknowledged that people still wanted a button, that people also wanted a 3.5.
No, they
might
never
say that.
acknowledged people want the button. They just happened to make the last generation of a cheap phone. That's not
So
because...
you think this will be?
Yeah.
You would think this will be the very last one with a button?
Yeah, the next one will be based on the 10 or something like that.
Then I'd better buy two. One
Or
for
in
now,
3
one for
years'
later.
time. I
Yeah,
can't
in
see
2
them
years' time,
maintaining... Unless they really don't want to lose those people. But it's not unlike Apple to just ditch people.
But what
So
if the?
are there
but-
any iPhone models now that have a 3.5mm jack input?
the 6 and
headphone
6S?
jack.
The 6.
But they're not on
6S.
sale, are they? I think the
Checking for you
SE...
now.
The SE got killed. I think the 8 was the last. I don't think even still sell the 7, which does.
I'm on the
either
Apple
7,
website
the
right
7 got rid of
now.
it.
You can't buy a 6. No, they've all gone.
All
Yeah.
jackless.
It's funny, if I tap... I'm on the Apple web store right now, and if I tap on compare, I can compare iPhone models, and it lets me go back to the SE1 first generation. SE first generation is
do you
what
mean
Apple calls the original SE
The
now.
SE 2017.
Phil,
No, well-
Will, on the Apple website, it calls it the iPhone SE bracket second generation.
Yeah, I'll give it
brackets.
that. If it says it on the Apple website, I'm quite happy to call it that. Because it's on the Apple website.
There's no current iPhone you can buy that has a 3.5 jack.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
That ship has sailed.
It
that
certainly
makes me
has.
sad.
Oh, you just get some AirPods,
makes-
it's fine.
But amusingly, on my iPad that I'm using right now for our Zoom, it's the iPad Air 2, which has a headphone jack. So my
And that's-
headphones that I'm wearing right now are with a 3.5mm jack.
And
that's-
what
Oh,
version of
can-
iOS
can-
are you running on that?
Oh, the latest one.
13.
4 now.
So can you buy an iPad now with a headphone jack?
I think.
I was just looking at that very
Or do
thing.
the latest Pros? Did they get rid of it? I can't remember.
Well, so I'm holding an iPad Pro 12.9 2018 in my hand, and no, that's just got USB-C. There's no headphone jack in
Right.
here. Just having a look at the iPhone.
I think the iPad Air
Mini.
might still have a headphone jack.
The current iPad Mini also has a headphone jack.
Yeah. Which is
So if you
about
wanna-
the same size as an iPhone 11 Max, isn't it? So there we go.
You'd be surprised how different they are. In terms of measurements, you might think they're quite similar, but they're not. But it looks as though if you want a headphone jack or a microphone input that isn't via your Lightning or USB port, then you've got to go with an iPad these days.
Them's the times.
Excuse me. Oh, that's a big yawn. That's big.
Are we keeping you up, Jeff?
Yeah, it's 9:00 here. Yeah. What else is on our list before I go? Because we're
Well,
doing an hour, right?
I
Only
think-
doing
I
an
mean,
hour
We do have password managers, but I don't think we can cover that in the
next
time.
week.
It's always next week.
I've got a note I need to tell you about that, Will, anyway, before we do that. So
Okay. Is it an offline note or is it an online note?
I need to give you an offline note
Okay.
before we discuss that.
I'll look forward to that.
I'll share
I've
them
been
with you both
Oh, lovely.
afterwards.
Good. So not only did we come up with one podcast after a 14-month hiatus, we have Another podcast hot on its heels, and
I'm
we
down for another.
You're assuming this is
Might.
actually going to be released. Let's not.
yeah, we've been there before.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm totally down for another one, boys.
Until it's out, it's not out. So
it'll be out.
yeah.
What else have we got to do aside from your meditation? Come on.
My meditation, my coding, my homeschooling,
probably
the
shouldn't
trying
have
to run a
mentioned
business. Yeah, no, I've got loads of time, Jeff. Loads of time. All the Zoom calls with all my friends.
You're probably going to regret mentioning the meditation, Will, because I am going to remember that. I don't know why. That's gonna stick in my mind.
It's all right because meditation teaches me to just let it pass by, Jeff. So it's fine. Equanimity. That's all. It's all about equanimity. I can find my inner peace.
Good. Are we done?
Right. Oh,
Right.
it feels like we're coming to a natural end, doesn't it? Yes.
Think
there
so.
we
And
are.
I've got some meditating to do. So
David, yoga? No, but no. I might just go
Yeah.
and stretch. I might just go and do some physio stretching. It's always good to stretch.
End of Frackulous. If your puny human minds can handle more, then follow on Twitter. @FRACKULOUS or individually. David McClelland. DAVIDMCCLELLAND. Jeff Tech. GEOFFTECH. Will Head. WILLHEAD. Email your brains to hello@frackulous.com. The jukebox in the corner blasting out my favorite song. The nights are getting warmer, it won't be long. Won't be long till the summer comes. Now that the boys are here again. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town.
I went cycling for the first time in, let's say, 2 years.
okay.
A couple of days ago. I think I did 5.5 kilometres. As Will knows, it's very, very hilly where I live, and I did it, and I didn't put my feet down once, apart from when I was turning right across a carriageway, and even up the steep hills, albeit in a very, very low gear. I was very, very pleased with myself. My legs were jelly for a good hour afterwards. And here I am. That was on Wednesday. We're recording this on a Friday night. And
Do you want to?
I'm standing up right now. And my bum is very sore indeed.
Do you want to quickly talk bike tech?
Oh, go on then, because I've got a bike.
So
Hang on, do we all bike? David clearly bikes. I bike. Do you bike? Will?
I have a bike, and when I did first got it, I thought I quite like the idea of tracking routes and all of this. You used to track your routes on Strava, all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But what I really want is some kind of feedback about what speed I'm doing, what kind of elevation we're at, all of those kind of like metrics you get. When I'm running, I get those through my ear every kind of 5 minutes. So I thought I want something that can feed me that back, but obviously I want to keep my ears open for traffic. And I've bought this thing called a Reflect, which is about the size of a box of matches. It's an LCD display. It attaches via Bluetooth to your phone, and it basically reads out your stats, like your current speed, your elevation, how long you've been riding, the time, all of these useful things that you might want to know, and then also tracks your routes and syncs it to Strava. So that's my top tip for bike tech.
So
get
what's
yourself
the
a Reflect.
difference between just having one of these Reflects, or what I do is I have a Joby bike grip for my phone, and I've just got Strava loaded on my phone when I go out for a cycle.
I'd say there are
What's the
two
difference?
benefits. One, this is fully waterproof and also very firmly attached to your bike. So if you had some sort of incident where you abruptly were relieved from your bike, it would just be the Reflect that went flying, which is like a 60 quid device versus your £1,000 phone.
So is the idea that you wouldn't have your phone with you?
You have it in your
would leave
pocket.
your phone at home, and it would. Okay. Right.
Your phone's
So,
in
so
your
the
pocket.
Reflect doesn't cache the journey data and then upload it
Oh,
to
no,
your
it
phone
just
once you're back.
But it's in the name Reflect. It is just it's a mirror of your data on your phone.
Right. Okay.
So it's just purely an output device. It's like a second screen for your iPhone, but primarily focused around surfacing this data while you're on the move. And it's very incredibly easy to use because it's just got 4 buttons and a really simple display. And you can start and stop your tracking of your routes via the device. So it's a remote control and screen for your phone.
Interesting. I shall look that up. I mean, my Joby grip for my phone is pretty secure. And on my Strava journey, and when I went cycling before I moved here, I remember it was okay. But I'll see what the Reflect gives me on top of that.
Cool.
Boys,
Right,
that's probably
that's the end
that's
of
probably
bike
an hour.
tech.
Bike tech. Let's have bike tech in a future episode.
Have you got some bike tech,
man.
Jeff?
In a future episode.
Stay tuned, listener. Stay tuned for more gripping bike tech.
And that's if there is another episode.
Oh.
Dun dun dun.
Well, don't do that.
Even
There'll
we don't
be
know the
another
answer to
episode.
that. We're not teasing. We genuinely don't know. But
No,
it's been going all right.
game.
I don't
What?
know. I mean,
No, I'm game
Who
now. I'm
knows?
back in the. God, boys, I'm back in the saddle. Ba-dum.
Hey.
and David isn't.
See you next week.
Yeah. See you next time. Let's not commit to weekly.
I mean, I'm happy to record, but just who knows if they'll ever get released. That's these things do what they do. They do what
Are you
they
being
do.
serious?